Welcome to the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, where rude mechanicals do magic. Hello, I'm Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, and welcome to another episode of Chair Hospital. Today we reveal that when your mother used to yell at you to not lean back in the chair like this, she wasn't worried about you breaking your neck. She was worried you were going to break her chair. This style of chair with the round seat is usually called an ice cream chair, probably because they were popular in ice cream parlors back when ice cream was a new thing. The seat itself is made out of several pieces of oak glued together into this one big slab. And the legs, front and back, are bentwood. That means that they cut out a piece of wood about that shape, heated it up in a steam bath, and then bent it and clamped it in place. The advantage of that is it makes a fairly strong chair leg. The grain follows the curve instead of sawing this out of a single board, which would leave you with pieces of grain coming out the outside of the curve, which would easily peel apart. Even so, the mortise, where the side stretcher goes in, creates a weak point, and that's where it broke. And also, the back side, where the back stretcher goes in, it broke as well. Clamping a chair to a bench is always an adventure. Ah, there we go. Someone tried to repair it with a dowel, which they didn't get close to on center. I can tell by seeing all the glue on these inside surfaces here that this is the bane of all repairs, which is the previous repair. We're at the Packard Precision 12-speed drill press. I'm set up with a 5/8 inch Forstner bit, and what I want to do is drill a hole down through this back leg here as far as I can get it to go. The reason I drilled this hole is so that I can put in this steel pin, cut it to the right length, set it in epoxy, and that's going to be how we repair this chair. Here's the steel pin, cut it to length and gave it a little bit of a crook so it'll fit better. I won't have to remove so much wood from the leg. But that brings up another engineering problem. The stretcher, which would ordinarily fit right here, most of that tenon is going to be taken up by the space where the pin is. So what I'm going to need to do is create a tenon and a tenon. Drill a hole through here so that a pin can be put into this tenon, and that should give me enough surface area for the adhesive to hold on and let this stretcher serve its purpose. Okay, after quite a bit of fiddling, I think I've come up with what's going to work. This stretcher has been trimmed to within an eighth of an inch of its life. It fits in like that. The steel pin fits in like that. And I have another pin made from a piece of a long screw that I cut off. And I've got enough slack to ensure that I can position this once it's in place. This piece comes down and makes a fairly tight fit. You never can get them all the way back together once the cracks have been separated, but that's pretty close. Now all I have to do is figure out what the order is that I'm going to start gluing stuff back together, because it basically is a Chinese puzzle and I'm only going to get one shot at it. The materials I'm going to be using for this job starts with PC7, which is an epoxy paste, and something called 30-minute slow cure epoxy resin. And the reason for this is because some parts of this job I need the adhesive to flow into all the spaces, and some parts of it I don't want the adhesive to flow out of the spaces where I put it. Now with a job like this, it's going to make a mess. Just accept that, deal with it, and prepare for it. And it starts with wax paper skirt. Glue always runs downhill. The next thing is a can of Johnson's paste wax and an acid brush, and I paint all the surfaces that are likely to get a drip on them, because this simply just makes it so much easier to get excess epoxy off if it's waxed. Now what I've done here is I have drilled a 3/16 hole in this side, which goes all the way into that cavity where the pin is. And there's an 1/8" hole right here, which will allow air to escape as I pump this thing full of epoxy. Now the fun part is over. Get this thing driven down as tight as I can. And as usual, I've made a special clamp just for this situation. Now if this were any other kind of chair, I would measure for diagonals and dimensions and stuff like that. But this is bent wood, and that's not a precise science. Well, I guess that's going to stay for a while. One thing about this technique is it's going to leave gaps, and you're going to get a lot of glue despite the wax and the tape and stuff I put on it. It's not pretty, which means that you're going to be doing a lot of touch up and filling afterwards. Usually they come out better than this, but this one being broken in this jagged line like that meant that there was no way to avoid chipping when the thing got clamped back together. Now I eventually will go ahead and put this same color stain up and down where I've sanded the varnish off, but I want to get a little bit deeper tone where the wood filler is showing. Let that soak in for a little while and then wipe it down, and it should come out pretty close to the color I want. Well, there we go. Not exactly an invisible repair, but strong, and for a back leg, I think that'll do. Well, this is Bronze Age for the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, and thank you for sticking through this video to the end. I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, I always respond. And again, thank you very much.